Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to begin.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this.
Opgepast, we gaan starten!
Hello, create. Oh shit, my webcam is not being recognized. Oh god, it's one of these days again. Why is it every time I choose to stream, there's always some stupid fucking bullshit that I need to deal with? There's always something. Don't worry, creators, we're gonna fix this. We're gonna fix this. There we go. That's a lot better. Hey creators, how's it going? Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to Koen's Corner, where today it's gonna be a little bit different. Because we're gonna take a little break from the Humongous Entertainment series. We're gonna get back to that next week. But, in the meantime, what I want to do today is talk a little bit about some movies that are coming out this year. Because there's quite a lot. It's quite interesting. So, I think that would make for a fun little discussion. It's gonna be an interesting year for film, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing in this case, because especially in some of the bigger names right now, there's Paramount, Disney, and Universal. Looks like a lot of remakes, a lot of sequels, and a lot of questionable things that are coming out. So, it's gonna be an interesting year for film, to say the least. I'm definitely very excited still. I'm very optimistic, as I often am about movies and about that kind of thing. Because I think it's important to be optimistic about this kind of discussion, instead of, you know, being overly negative about something like this. We're gonna see what happens. But yeah, I'm gonna show you the list when we get to that. But oh boy, we have got some interesting stuff to look forward to. Other than that, though, I'm always excited for what kind of movies are coming out. I always try to get into any movie that's gonna come out with a grain of salt, first of all. and also with a very optimistic mindset, because that's usually how I am with any sort of media at all. It doesn't matter if I think a decision to release something or to make something is questionable. If the execution is right, if the execution is good, that's always what matters to me, and I always try to give a movie a fair shot. You know, unlike some people who have, I don't know if the Snow White remake is still one of those things that people actively ignore, but that was a thing that I wanted to give a fair shot because I was very curious to see what it would become, what it would be, and whether or not it was actually as bad as many people were making it out to be. Actually, I don't even know if that was the case, because I think I watched the Snow White remake before knowing anything about whatever people were saying about it at the time, so let me actually just look this up. Yeah. So, reviews for the Snow White remake are still... Oh god, I forgot to change the resolution of my monitor. Hang on. There we go. That should be a lot better. And it is. Okay, great. So reviews for this movie are still abysmal. They're better than they were. It's at the very least not a 1.5 like it used to be, but it's still not great. And I guarantee you that the actual written reviews are still not in favor of it. A considerable amount of people, yeah. Over 86,000 people. A solid 83% of reviews were 1-star reviews. Still blows my mind to this day how there was such a violent hatred towards it. It has gone a little bit of a... It has seen a little bit of positive reception since then. But I mean... Rooting for the apple, my god. Poisoned apples all around. A hollow and uninspired reimagining. Garbage. Soulless, unnecessary. Unnecessary, I to this day still very much disagree with that the Snow White remake was unnecessary. It's a story that originated in the 1800s, possibly even older than that. The original movie by Disney was released. I feel like this is a little bit too much of a EDM playlist, by the way. What do you mean there are no playlists? I'm literally playing one of my playlists right now. Okay, hang on. Something weird is going on with my media player. I need to... Okay. My playlists are gone. Those reviews lean mostly towards the negative, sadly. Yeah, Okay. Something really strange happened here. Because for some reason, all of my playlists are suddenly gone. Alright. That's fine, because I was gonna make a brand new one for this particular live stream anyway. Because I was gonna play my lo-fi playlist on this anyway, so it's fine. But I very much would have liked for that playlist to stay. Where is the... Yeah, I got all of this shit. This is a full-on lo-fi playlist that I'm creating here. Also, my Epidemic Sound. These are all of the lo-fi tracks that I got from there. We're just gonna call this the lo-fi PSYT playlist. Oh, there it suddenly is again. Okay. Sure, man. Whatever you say. Love me some lo-fi. Yeah, so do I. But yeah, the reviews for Snow White were left a lot to be desired. And it's a shame, because I think that the Snow White remake was actually really decent. It's not perfect, but none of the remakes are ever gonna be perfect. Even a lot of the better ones, like Dumbo and 101 Dalmatians, have some pretty bad problems in them. 101 Dalmatians tried way too hard to be a modernized version of 101 Dalmatians. And Dumbo was just a little bit too different from the original story to really be considered a Dumbo remake. But I don't know. Not a great movie, but kids had a blast, and that counts for something. That's at least one slightly positive review. Still not great, though, for a 6 out of 10 star review. Mirror, mirror, make it stop. A dismal, dismaying disaster. Ignore the nonsense. This is a really lovely family movie we went to see. We went last week, and my daughters, 15 and 13, loved it. And my wife and I chuckled all the way through. Yeah, so did I. The new songs are great, real Greatest Showman style earworms. That's not a coincidence, by the way, because the composer who made the soundtrack for The Greatest Showman also made the soundtrack for the Snow White remake. So, this is really not a coincidence. And also, yeah, people are really not taking kindly to others writing a positive review on this movie either, because of reasons I don't know. It's a strange one. It's a strange discussion, and it's one that I've been wanting to make a Snow White video for quite some time, but it's always been more than a little bit intimidating because of shit like this that go on around it. And it's a shame, because I do think that a lot of the Disney remakes these days, they're not necessarily disliked for the sole fact that they are bad movies. They're disliked for other reasons that are completely unrelated to the movie itself. They're often related to whatever goes on behind the scenes at the actual corporation, not at the creative studio that makes these movies. A lot of the hatred is often directed at Disney being too woke these days or whatever. A lot of the reasons why people don't like not even just the remakes, but modern Disney movies in general is because of Disney milking franchises dry that they own or whatever, and it's often just kind of... It gets exhausting, especially when you're just looking to watch a movie that you genuinely have a lot of high hopes for and something that you genuinely enjoy. Because stuff like this, a genuinely positive review that actually makes some pretty good points about why they believe that this is a genuinely good movie and why they loved it. And it often just gets bombarded by a lot of people just shouting at them for the sole fact that they make a positive review on it. Either way, it's a fresh take on a very old classic. It works, just go enjoy it. And I agree with that. I think that the Snow White remake works great as a fresh take on a very old classic. Now, whether or not you believe that it is faithful to the original story is going to be up to you to decide, if you think that that is the case, and if you think that it should do that. Because it did make a lot of changes to the overall story that greatly changes the way that the whole story works. And whether or not you think it should do that is a whole different discussion. I know a few people who are really not taking kindly to Disney changing the story as much as they have. And I understand that. But I've heard some people who actually are genuinely happy that the movie failed as badly as it did, even though I think that it actually performed pretty decently. Let me actually see. Nah, okay, it didn't. It lost quite a bit of money at the box office, actually. But that also goes to show just how few people have actually seen the movie, and how many people are actively just hating on it for the sole fact that it exists in the first place. Because that's also the thing that happens. A lot of people just hate movies like this, hate this remake, for the sole fact that it exists, and people don't want it to exist for one reason or another. People just did not... People have not given this movie the chance that it honestly does deserve. I am a strong believer in that every piece of media, no matter how bad it is, deserves a fair chance from everybody. Before they actually make a judgment on it, or give it a positive or a negative review. Give it a solid chance. Actually watch the movie before you have a aggressive opinion on something. That was the main takeaway that I got out of watching Snow White. Whether or not it's misunderstood is a completely different discussion. I'm not going to get into that, but I do believe that it did not get the chance that it does deserve. Those reviews just get so much hate for no reason. Yeah. Can't judge a book by its cover. That saying can be interpreted in a variety of different ways. I don't know if I fully agree with the statement that you can't judge a book by its cover. It also, for me, it kind of depends on what kind of cover are we talking about here. Because I can actually show you something real quick. It's in my closet over here, so I'm not gonna bother switching. Alright. So what I have here is a small collection of games and movies and shit that I all own physically. Physical media for the win. Anyway. One thing that I always like to do before I actually buy a movie or a game, especially if I'm not familiar with it, is to actually look at the cover of the thing before I actually go out of my way to buy it. How much work has been put into the cover? Did they make it look presentable in some way? Did they make it look appealing? Because the thing is that you can make a game enjoyable to play and all that, but if the cover does not grab my attention to the point where I'm actually getting excited to check it out, to buy it, and to see what it is actually like, in my opinion, you have failed to some degree. Nintendo is a great example of a company who does seem to really care much about the box art of the games that they make. They are often just littered with a lot of color and a lot of personality. The back of the box, it's really tough to read, probably for my not Dutch viewers, but a lot of these also have just so much information on them that it just gives you a very clear idea of what the game is in the first place and all that. And the same thing goes for movie box covers. I just now realized that literally every single game that I just now picked up is either Mario Party or it's Super Smash. I have 2 Super Smash games and 3 Mario Party games in my paws right now. Anyway, moving on from that. Same goes for movie covers. High School Musical is a very whimsical, very happy movie, and it reflects that through the box cover. The back does not have nearly as much personality to it as the Nintendo games, but it is still pretty dang sick. It does have a lot of information on the box. It tells you pretty much everything you need to know about the movie. And yeah, the same thing could be said about literally every single one of these that I have on my desk right now. This one in particular just screams 1980s. It's really dated, but I mean, High School Musical, I had a good time watching. Yeah. High School Musical 2. High School Musical 2 is actually my favorite one of the original trilogy there. It's a great movie. Well, okay, it's not a great movie. It's really dumb. It's a really dumb movie, but I just really like it to bits. It's such a good time. But anyway, moving on from that, we're gonna talk about movies that are coming out in 2026. 2026 is set to feature a variety of exciting films, including sequels, adaptations, and original stories across multiple genres. I don't know if sequels are really all that exciting anymore these days, to be honest. But that's just me. We're gonna grab IMDb here, and we're just gonna scroll through the list. First off, there's Avengers Doomsday, which I know nothing about the Avengers movies. Just gonna say that up front. Everybody has seen these. I have not seen. I've seen the first one maybe for like the first 30 minutes, and that was literally years ago by now. I know nothing about this. So I don't know how exciting it is that this is gonna exist and that this is gonna come out this year. It's gonna come out in December, so that must mean that it's a good movie. December is always one of those months where there's so many good stuff coming out in December, and it's genuinely really tough to really pick what movie to watch in December at times. So yeah, we're gonna see what else is gonna come out. I don't think I'm gonna be seeing Avengers, to be honest, because I am not at all familiar with the Avenger movies, and I apparently, from what I understand, you must have seen all of the Avenger movies to follow the story properly, as well as every other movie from every single hero in the Avengers movies. So that means that I will have to watch every Spider-Man, every Iron Man, every Hulk, everything. And I am just not... I don't want to do that, to be honest. Supergirl is supposedly going to be a... it's gonna be in a similar ballpark as Superman, I believe. And I loved Superman. That movie was fantastic. I don't typically care that much for DC and all that, but Superman was fantastic. I love that movie. So this is gonna be interesting. Yeah, I'm not gonna look into all of the actors and whatnot, but yeah, Supergirl is definitely one that I will probably check out, considering I also loved the original. Scary Movie, I've seen a few clips of the original. Does not grab my attention whatsoever. I don't know if I'm gonna be watching that. I have yet to see the Mortal Kombat movie, the first Mortal Kombat movie that came out, I believe, a few years ago, maybe last year. I have yet to see that, and I will see that. I think that From what I understand, it's probably a really good one. And I also kind of want to see this one after I saw Mortal Kombat 1. I love the Mortal Kombat games. Absolutely amazing games, really fun. And it's gonna be a good ride getting into those movies. Hey Kevin, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. The Odyssey, I also know very little about. I know it from the song that everybody knows at this point. It's an iconic song. Apparently Tom Holland is gonna be in this one. Okay. And it's directed by Christopher Nolan. Okay. Anna Hathaway. Why does that sound so familiar? Oh! Right. Okay. Yeah, I've seen. She has been in a lot of stuff. Oh boy. That's gonna be interesting. She's known for a number of movies. Some of them apparently pretty decent. Some of them not so decent. Love and Other Drugs. Oh my god. I don't know if that should be a good sign or a bad sign, but the Odyssey is definitely one that I will probably give that a look. I will probably give that a look. I'm a big fan of Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland is awesome. Another Scream movie. 7 Scream movies. 7. Can I just... Oh, shit. Play the sound. I mean, look, I know that Scream is a very popular franchise. But... must we really have 7 of them? Look, I have never seen the Scream movies, and I really don't want to, because I'm not that much of a horror fan, but... this is absolutely wild to me. Street Fighter is a fun fighting game franchise. I don't like it enough to want to see a movie about that. Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. So they're actually making a movie based on The Mandalorian series. Which, if you don't remember, that was a Disney Plus original show, I believe. That show was pretty dang sick. Also, I love that this poster is designed as if it came straight out of the 1970s. Great, love it. Monothori Assistant. I have never seen that. I've never heard of that. What is it about? I'm genuinely extremely curious. This was apparently written by George Lucas. Which... George Lucas has an interesting catalog, to say the least. Already the popularity of this is tanking, and I guarantee you that it has nothing to do with the movie itself. This, I think, has a lot more to do with the fact that the Star Wars franchise is already just really not that well liked by a lot of people. But we'll have to see. No reviews are available for this, obviously, because the movie has yet to come out, but... I don't know. Would you guys watch this? Creators, tell me, would you go out and watch a Star Wars movie these days? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I was watching through a bunch of Star Wars stuff. I really wanted to get into it. I really wanted to get into Star Wars for a while. And I really liked the original trilogy. The prequel trilogy was a mixed bag, Not gonna lie, was not a big fan of that. I have not seen enough about the sequel trilogy to really have much of an opinion on that. I know I know that the sequels are kind of divisive. Some people really like them, some people really do not. So, the Mandalorian series was sick, really like that. The Clone Wars series was really fun. Loves Star Wars Rebels. Star Wars Rebels is, I think, my favorite out of the Star Wars franchise. But I think that's mostly because it's a lot more reliant on jokes than it is about an actual serious story, which I personally prefer. The Mandalorian, it was cool, but it really did not keep me hooked enough to where I wanted to watch more of it. I also just completely skipped over season 2 of that, and ever since then I basically just stopped watching Star Wars entirely. I have not come back to this at all since then. I'd rather watch the old ones than the new ones. And yeah, that seems to be the consensus surrounding Star Wars in general these days. I don't blame anyone for that. I think that there is a genuine argument to be made against this. I don't know how necessary this was, because I haven't seen... Like I said, I haven't seen Season 2, so I don't know how important this is to the story. And I also don't know how much this would add to the story, because I also haven't even bothered to watch the trailer for this, and I'm not gonna. But... I've been playing GeoGuessr a lot lately, and my rank is Gold 2 at the moment. That's pretty dang sick. That's very impressive. But yeah, Star Wars The Mandalorian is not something that I'm particularly interested in. Another sequel, Terrifier 4. I mean, I'm gonna assume that this is a sequel. I have no idea what this franchise even is. The poster alone tells me that this is a horror movie. Yeah. Yeah, definitely a horror franchise. And it's another Okay. Real talk, real quick. Real talk. There's a lot of sequels coming out this year. And I know that a lot of... I've seen a lot of distaste towards... Not necessarily sequels as a whole, but just... Actually, yeah, I have seen a lot of distaste towards sequels. And the creative industry over it. But there's one thing that always drives me up a wall about sequels. And it is the simple fact that there's a lot of instances when a sequel comes out and nobody bats an eye on it. But the moment that it's Disney, everybody just... everybody loses their minds over it. It does not happen when there's 4 Terrifier movies out. This one is going to come out in October this year. It does obviously happen when a new Star Wars movie or a new Star Wars show comes out, because Star Wars is owned by Disney. It does not happen when a Scream movie comes out, at least to my knowledge. It's probably not gonna happen for Scary Movie. Same goes for Mortal Kombat, even though I am personally excited to see Mortal Kombat. It still bothers me that a sequel is coming out of it. And I guarantee you it is not gonna happen when a new Sonic movie comes out, because everybody loves Sonic. Everybody is really enjoying the Sonic movies, even though they're very mediocre at best. They're really not great. And yet, everybody is raving over a bunch of sequels coming from coming from all sorts of studios who are doing basically what Disney is doing. They are milking all sorts of franchises dry until nothing is left of it. And nobody bats an eye on it. Nobody bats an eye on when Paramount does it. Nobody bats an eye when Universal does it, or any of these other studios. It's always Disney that gets the most violent response from literally everybody. And what especially upsets me about that is that we've seen this happen time and time again, especially with Paramount Pictures. Because Paramount continues to make SpongeBob. They continue to make... what else is it that they make? Mission Impossible, I believe they're still making. The Sonic movies... even though the Sonic movies have they literally had never had any reason to have any sequels whatsoever there. The first Sonic movie was fine. It was decent. It did what it wanted. You know, and it had a very satisfying and good ending to it that I think was very well worth ending it there. But no, we gotta have more. We gotta have Tails. We gotta have Shadows. We gotta have a dedicated story to Knuckles. We gotta have everyone there. Even though they have no merit being there whatsoever. And it's literally the one thing that I always hear about whenever I ask people about it. What did you like about it? Well, for one thing, there's Tails in it. Well, for one thing, there's Shadow in it. And then they go out to tell me then I hear that the third Sonic movie felt like it was a actual Sonic movie. And my only thought to that is like, why did they not do this from the very frickin' beginning? It drives me up a frickin' wall whenever I hear about that. You're making a Sonic movie. Make an actual Sonic movie. Not whatever the first movie was. Not whatever the second was. Make an actual Sonic movie. They make films such as Top Gun. Yeah, the Top Gun series is still ongoing for some reason. I also couldn't help but notice that the first Top Gun movie came out several decades ago, and it took them a very long time to finally make a sequel on that. And now the Top Gun franchise is back in full force. A Super Mario Galaxy movie direct? Please don't spoil it! Don't spoil it! Because I'm going to see that movie completely 100% blind. The Mario Galaxy movie is quite literally the only sequel that I'm actually really excited to see this year. Because that actually has reason to exist. And it's gonna be freaking epic to see Mario Galaxy in the theaters. It's gonna be great. What in the world is this, even? Coyote versus Acme. This is a Looney Tunes. No, they're not doing this. A story set in the Acme warehouse, the manufacturer of anything and everything used by the Looney Tunes characters. John Cena! No freaking way. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Looks like Roadrunner to me. Yeah, it's probably a movie based on Roadrunner. But that imprint right there, that is a imprint of Wile E. Coyote, who has probably hit the ground right there because he fell down a cliff like he usually does. I don't know what this is gonna be, but... Oh, okay. Who Frames Roger Rabbit, but, it's a Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of thing, apparently. So this is gonna be interesting. Ah! Yeah, man, that's what we like to see. Where is the frickin' bun? Look up the Mortuary Assistant trailer. It is going to be a good horror movie. I personally don't really care that much for horror movies, so I don't know if I'm gonna be doing that, to be honest. I'm more of a fantasy fan. I like fantasy. I like action movies, you know, animation that I enjoy. Also, this looks like it's gonna be Coyote versus Acme. This is gonna be wild. Okay. I have so many questions. I have so many questions. And it's just... So Moana is getting a remake, right? We're getting a Moana remake. I just have to ask, why? What is the point of this? Because Moana came out, like, when did the original Moana come out? The original Moana was really not that old, creators. 2016. This movie is 10 years old. Most of the time, whenever Disney does a remake, they're usually doing one of their classics, right? Early 2000s, 1990s, even older than that. There's the Snow White remake, which originally came out in 1937, I believe it was, 1938, somewhere around then. It's because of censorship. If censorship was a thing, if censorship was really a problem, they probably would not have made this movie to begin with. Censorship does not have anything to do with this particular thing, I don't think. Here's the thing. With Disney and live-action remakes, I'm a big defender of the remakes, by the way. I don't think it's as big of a deal as many people make them out to be. I think that there is merit to a live-action remake. I'm glad that a lot of Disney classics are given attention, and they're bringing attention to classic stories that many of us grew up with. And they're bringing them to a new audience. I understand why so many people don't like the remakes. I understand why. Well, except for maybe the Snow White remake. That one I legitimately do not understand where the Violet hatred comes from. But I do understand... most of the times I understand why people don't like the remakes that much. I personally am a big defender, so... But anyway, I'm yapping at this point. A lot of the times when they do remake a movie, there is some merit to it. It is because the story is old or outdated, and they're just putting a modern twist to it. They often fail, but there's at least an attempt, and they're bringing attention to classic stories that we grew up with and that we all love. Moana is a story that I love, but a remake is completely unnecessary for this particular one. And it is, for one thing, because the original story came out in 2016, but also, how are you gonna make this work? I fail to see how it's gonna make this work. There's apparently a trailer for it. I'm thinking of maybe watching the trailer in a little bit together so that we can get an understanding of how this is going to look. But, like, it's clear that at this point Disney has done so many of these remakes, and so many more are probably still gonna come out. Disney has physically run out of movies to remake, so they're literally just remaking whatever they can at this point, because the classics are just kind of done. There's really nothing more that they can do there. Do you mayhaps know why they call it Vaiana over here? I have no idea. Probably because they thought that that Moana was a little bit too foreign for Dutch audiences or whatever. The point is why everything gets a remake, because it needs to be politically correct, or people will be offended somehow. Yeah, the problem is people are gonna get offended no matter what you do, because this is Disney making the remakes, and people just hate Disney remakes in general. So it doesn't matter. You can be politically correct. You can change the story around to make it a little bit more unique and interesting. But people just don't want these to exist anymore. And I get it. I'm also all for just making original stories and making something that people actually would want to see. But anyway, because I'm genuinely curious to see what this is going to look like, we're gonna watch the trailer right now. And I'm hoping that that Disney doesn't come after me for this. I don't think they will, though. Disney is usually okay with content creators making stuff about their movies or whatever. The only Disney movies I've watched is Cars. Hey, that's fair, man. Cars is fine. Alright. I don't know if this is a teaser or not. It looks like a teaser. Okay. I will give them this. Disney knows how to make a Disney knows how to make a remake look pretty. Hey Hey looks absolutely hideous though. Alright. Yeah, that was definitely a teaser. I don't think that was the full trailer, but we're gonna see. Visual effects are key for Disney. Oh yeah, Disney knows, they know how to make their movies look pretty. It doesn't matter. It's absolutely crazy how pretty they can make their remakes look. Or any movie for that matter. They know how to make a movie look pretty. But I don't really get a good feel of what the movie is actually like. I mostly just see pretty visuals here. But I didn't really get a good sense that what this movie is actually going to be like to watch, which a trailer is supposed to be doing. But again, this is probably just a teaser. we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Also, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is he's coming back in his role as Maui for this, apparently. And I am genuinely curious to see how that is gonna work out. Personally, I don't think that it's gonna work out that well. But... I don't know. Also, Toy Story 5. Why does this exist? Why does this need to exist? It doesn't need to exist. Come on, guys. Toy Story... Okay. Extremely hot take. But I don't think that the Toy Story franchise should have continued as long as it has. I think it should have ended with the first movie and never come back again. Because the Toy Story franchise was already the first movie was already fan-frickin-tastic. It had no reason to continue as long as it did. And Pixar just keeps coming back to it because it's a very, very safe option. They know that people are going to see Toy Story because people love Toy Story. And they're right. These movies always do incredibly well. And look, Toy Story 5 might be fantastic. Some people are a little bit skeptical of it. I'm sure that it's gonna be fantastic, considering the same team has worked on the first, the second, the third, and the fourth. All of which, from what I understand, are pretty dang solid. So... I recently watched the F1 movie and holy hell, what a flop. You did not like it? What? I personally thought that F1 was pretty dang solid. Like, I personally really enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. So. What do you think of a Ratatouille sequel? Unnecessary. Should not exist. If it will exist, then... great, I guess. But I don't think that's gonna work out. Personally, because the thing is also, where do you go from Ratatouille as is? Where are you going to go from there? I don't think there's very many other places that you can take it. Besides maybe having Remy open a restaurant of his own. How in the hell is he gonna do that? He's a fucking rat. I don't know. Apparently there's a movie coming out about Michael Jackson. Oh my gosh, it's an actual doppelganger. Are you serious? That is scary, man. He looks almost exactly like what Michael Jackson used to look like. What? Autobiographies are always an interesting one. Man, I love Michael Jackson. That man can sing, that man can dance. This is gonna be interesting to watch. I'm probably gonna see this. Okay. Some people believe he is still alive. I don't know enough about him. I mean, I don't know if Michael Jackson is still alive. He might be. But I don't think so. How do you believe that Michael Jackson is still alive, actually? That man literally fell apart. Like, everything about him, just everything, he just completely fell apart over time. Okay. This is a thing. Avatar, The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender. I'm actually really happy that they acknowledged that it's The Legend of Aang. I'm really glad that that made it into the title of this movie. Apparently, this is going to be a thing. People clearly are not taking a liking at this idea. I'm gonna be honest. I think this is probably one of the worst ideas that you could possibly have for any movie at all. Because the Avatar franchise has proven time and time again that it just cannot pick itself back up. It cannot live up to what the original series was and what it had accomplished. I love the original Legend of Aang series. It's fantastic. Easily my favorite Nickelodeon show of all time. The Legend of Korra was bad. It completely dropped the ball It completely failed to do anything that made the Legend of Aang great in the first place. It dropped literally everything there. It tried so many things, and it failed at every single turn. At every step of the way, they failed to deliver something that the Legend of Aang community expects and deserves. The live-action movie by M. Night Shyamalan is the live-action movie by M. Night Shyamalan. Really not great. It's funny as hell. If you're not gonna take the movie remotely seriously, which you just cannot. You cannot take that movie remotely seriously because of how ridiculous it is. The live-action series of The Last Airbender basically destroyed the whole thing. It was a complete live-action remake of the original series, but it was done in such a way that it kind of crapped on everything that made the original series as good as it was. It did almost... It is almost good. I do think that it does get there to some extent. I do think it gets there. But it misses the mark on a lot of fundamentals in its story that just... it doesn't work, unfortunately. I do wish that a good Avatar series could exist again. I want the Legend of Aang series to be good again. I really want to. But I have no confidence whatsoever that this movie is gonna be anywhere near the same quality that the original series was. The same writers are gonna be behind it, the same directors, everything. But... yeah, I've heard of Season 2 coming out this year. I will be watching Season 2 when it comes out. Because I do believe that I should give it a fair chance at the very least to see if they have improved at all since Season 1. But I have literally no confidence in that this is going to be remotely decent. I might watch it. I might. But we'll see. Yeah, The Last Airbender movie was really not great. I wouldn't really call it an insult, but I also think that you really should not take that movie remotely seriously. If you're gonna take that movie seriously, if you're gonna look at it through the lens of the TV show, you're doing it wrong. Just laugh at it. That's the best you can do. Just laugh at it. That's what I do anyway. Because it's so bad, it's honestly kind of hilarious to me. Oh no, an Inspector Gadget movie? Really? A Friday the 13th reboot? What is going on? Another Star Wars film apparently. Oh my gosh, yes! Dune Part 3, baby! So the Dune movies are some of my favorites of all time. I love the Dune movies. This is gonna be epic. I'm not gonna talk about the first two movies too much because I don't want to spoil anything. I think that you should just watch the Dune movies yourself. They're very long. They're over 3 hours long, but they're fantastic. Definitely worth it. The cat in the... Oh, speaking of movie franchises, or film or book franchises being milked dry to the ground, Dr. Seuss just cannot catch a fucking break. His books cannot catch a fucking break. We're getting another Cat in the Hat. Because all of the other Dr. Seuss movies were so freaking great, right? Who made this? Warner Brothers. Okay. That does give me a glimpse of optimism. Because at the very least, Warner Brothers knows how to make some good movies. I do like Warner Brothers. I genuinely like Warner Brothers. I'm curious to see if they make a Yu-Gi-Oh remake. You mean a remake of the first movie, Pyramid of Light, or a remake of the original series? Because I would absolutely watch the crap out of that, to be honest. If it ends up being good. The series, yeah, I would absolutely watch that. If it ends up being good. If it ends up being good. A Pokemon Detective Pikachu sequel? Come on! Why? I don't even know if this is an actual thing, or if this is just something that people are making rumors about or whatever. I don't know what's going on there, but... Detective Pikachu doesn't need a frickin' sequel. Are you serious? Jungle Book 2. Okay. Jungle Book 2 is an odd one to remake. Jungle Book is an odd one to make a sequel of. The remake, of course, not the original. Because the original already has a sequel. A Portal movie is apparently coming out. There's so many weird stuff coming out this year. So much weird stuff. Angry Birds Movie 3. Talk about... speaking of movies that are getting milk dry... Angry Birds isn't even a relevant series anymore. That franchise has been dead for years. Really doesn't help that Rovio keeps dropping the ball hard with every single thing that they try to do anymore with that franchise. A Madden movie is apparently coming out. Oh, no. What what is happening here? Mercy. Yeah, I need fucking mercy right now. I don't know, man. There is just so much weird stuff coming out. Split Fiction. I found the case. No. This cannot be. Oh no. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. We're getting some interesting stuff this year. That much is for certain. I cannot say I'm all that particularly excited for a lot of the stuff that's coming out. There is some. There are a couple. But overall, the movies... This year is gonna be weird for film. I really don't know. There's probably a lot of great stuff coming out in the indie scene, so I will be keeping up with that. Because the indie scene has been really interesting. For quite some time. In my honest opinion, right now, if you really want to see some great stuff coming out, if you really want to see some stuff, especially from the indie scene, Netflix, as it is right now, is probably the best way, the best place to look if you're looking for some indie stuff. Because indie animation and indie movies in general are honestly really dang solid, and a lot of great stuff comes out on here. Streaming services in general, I feel, are just really solid for that kind of stuff. Also, what the heck is that thumbnail for Hilda? Yeah, there's just a lot of interesting stuff that you can see on here. So if you're looking for some kind of a series or some kind of thing, streaming sources are probably the best place to look right now. But anyway, I'm gonna call it here. It's been a bit of a long ride. Oh God, excuse me. I haven't really slept that well this last month, this last week. So we're getting through it. We're getting through it, folks. But yeah. I want to thank you all for watching this Koen's Corner. I know it's been a little bit shorter today than my usual stream, but this was just something that I was... this is just not really something that... A lot of these I just don't really have that much to say on, because I have yet to see the trailers for a lot of these. Literally the only trailer that we've seen was the Moana one. And I don't really have a whole lot more that I can say other than... This is exciting, this looks interesting, this looks kind of fun, this does not look fun, why does this exist, whatever. So, it's gonna be interesting to see how these movies are actually gonna end up. And whether they're gonna be worth my time, and whether they're gonna be worth your time. I'm gonna be writing a bunch about the movies that I'll be seeing this year on Blue Sky and on my blog. So if you're interested in my thoughts on that matter, follow me on Blue Sky at PhoenixStarYT at bsky.social. And if you want to read more about my overall thoughts on the stuff that I watch, koenscorner.com is the place to be for that. And with that, I hope you all enjoyed today. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you, creators, in the next one.